Hello everybody, my name is Chris, and the Splatoon 3 Direct was absolutely awesome, so let's analyze it. The last trailer analysis, which I released really late, was now obsolete, so let's update some information. Apparently, the Spider-Man-like special I was talking about in the last trailer analysis was called the Zipcaster. Apparently, the Zipcaster allows you to zip through the stage. Apparently, that's why they call it the Zipcaster. The crab mech I was referring to in the last trailer analysis that I did is actually called the Crab Tank. The correct name for that Poltergust-like special that I was talking about in the last trailer analysis is called the Ink Vac. Nintendo also touched on a variety of other special weapons that were unseen in the previous trailer, but let's get into that later. First and foremost, if you want to support Nintendo, pre-order Splatoon 3 on the Nintendo eShop or pre-order it from your local video game retailer. And with that out of the way, let's dive into the ink head first and get right into this. Okay, so apparently there's a new technique called the Squid Surge. Apparently the Squid Surge allows you to climb up walls in a single swift motion. There's also a technique called the Squid Roll, which I missed in the release date trailer analysis that they touch on in the Splatoon 3 Direct. Sorry about that. Anyway, the researcher states, and I quote, "You can jump out of ink while simultaneously turning around," and that is what the Squid Roll is. Apparently when you glow during the Squid Roll or the Squid Surge, the researcher also states, and I quote, "You can slightly repel ink from your opponents." I guess during that time, their ink doesn't really damage you too much. They covered a new special weapon called the Tacticooler and a new base weapon class called the Splatana, pronounced like katana, not banana. Apparently the bow-like weapon in Splatoon 3 is called a Stringer, and it's not just a charge-up weapon. The roller mechanic has been confirmed where you can jump and sling the arrows vertically while you're in the air, but while you're on the ground you can only sling the arrows horizontally. Only if you charge up the arrows does it make the minor ink explosion. I would have said ink explosion, but I already made that pun in the last trailer analysis. Go check it out if you haven't. You shouldn't be this far into the video if you haven't watched part 1. Anyway, you can also do a charge slash with the Splatana apparently. There's also the Reslider, that's a new special weapon. So with the Reslider, you slide in, then you make an explosion of ink, spotting anybody nearby instantly. Earlier in this analysis video, I mentioned there was a Tacticooler special weapon. Apparently the Tacticooler is a mini fridge, and apparently there's salt beverages that boost the player's statistics, and there's enough for the whole team. Hooray! All of us on this team get extra move speed, or maybe extra defense, or maybe ink recovery. So sorry, I'm getting really carried away. There's also the Wavebreaker that only marks opponents on the ground using sonar waves. That is so easy to avoid. What were they thinking? Okay, so maybe the Wavebreaker isn't that great after all, because they tell us that you can avoid the waves with a well-timed jump. They even tell us that. Let's just move on. Okay, so maybe not all the special weapons are too great. On top of the mix of good and bad new special weapons, they're bringing back the existing special weapons from the previous 2 games, like the Inkzooka, the Tenno Missiles. The Tenno Missiles are easily the most overspammed special weapon in the second game. There's also the Ultra Stamp, the Booyah Bomb, and the Ink Storm making their grand return in this new entry to the franchise. Back to the Wavebreaker for the final time. Apparently the waves do a little bit of damage, but in no shape or fashion does that outweigh the fact that you can just jump over the waves. Let's talk about something new. Apparently there's Sheldon licenses, which you use to buy weapons instead of in-game currency. You earn Sheldon licenses when you level up or keep using a specific weapon. Apparently you start out with 3 of them if you have Splatoon 2. And that's just how many you need to access a weapon that's beyond your current level. Really, Nintendo is trying to advertise the game to players unfamiliar with the whole franchise, but they're giving veteran players from the second game an advantage. Let's just keep moving. Now they're finished talking about the Sheldon licenses. Now they're jumping right into the gear. Of course, there are 3 different kinds of shops for gear, each specializing in their own trade. The guy you talk to swap chunks out and Scurvy gear is still the same person. It's Merch again, but he's grown up now. Apparently, he can swap out a main ability on a gear now? Swapping the primary ability on a gear gives you 6 chunks back, and it seems he's much more chill toward the player now than in the second game. Apparently, you can save your gear and weapon loadout to 1 of 5 save slots. There is a new feature for analyzing battles called the Battle Replay System. Now you can post about this amazing Booyah Bomb play, or maybe you got 3 people at once with a sub-weapon, and maybe you'd like to share that. You can also switch to another player's perspective in the middle of analyzing the battle replays, which I really needed because I'm really bad at the game. Tell Mark about it. So there is a gymnasium area where you can practice while waiting for battle, or even check out the new locker feature. Yeah, lockers are a thing now. You can put stickers on the locker, and you can store stuff in it, like your favorite weapon, for example. Your locker is going to tell people a lot about who you are, so get creative, but don't get yourself lost inside your locker. I still haven't covered all the rest of the features yet. Now there is a shop that specializes in things other than gear or weapons. Meet Harmony, the courtesy clerk of Hotlantis. She'll give you a season catalog the first time you enter for the season. When you load into battle, there's splash tags that appear when you start. They're really taking Mean Team to the next level here, because you can change your tagline and your splash tag's background. There's a card game now. And this card game is apparently called Table Turf Battle. So there's a grid. Each different card covers a different area on the grid in the game. Just like a normal turf, each player gets a special weapon card. Apparently they touched on Salmon Run again. Apparently Salmonzilla has a name now. The game calls him Kohozuna. It's a type of king salmonid. There are also some new boss salmonids in the game now. The Slamming Lid, the Big Shot, and well, that's about all they touch on in terms of Salmon Run. And then the new hero campaign. Cuttlefish is confirmed to be involved in the new campaign, so he's the reason that the player gets involved with the mammalians in the first place. The mailbox again. Oh my goodness, the mailbox. Apparently there are vertical illustrations. Food tickets make the grid return as well. Just like in the second game, no ticket, no order. It's a concession stand rule. You can also explore the shoal now using your character instead of just using your menu interface. There's also a photograph mode. Hooray, now we can take photos in this city. Going back to the locker feature, apparently you can put photographs in your locker. Also, recon mode has seen some major improvements. You can recon any stage you want now. They gave us a hint as to what stages will be in the game. Nintendo only lets us peek at the first page of game stages. Apparently you have an hour's worth of recon time now. Look at the timer. You literally have half the rotation worth of time. That timer has 59 minutes and less than 30 seconds left. That is plenty of time. They also touch on the future of Splatnet, Splatnet 3. Splatnet 3 works similarly to the current iteration of Splatnet, Splatnet 2. You will need to use your smart device to access Splatnet 3 once it comes out. Like with the current iteration, you can use your smartphone to order gear and have it delivered to the Splatlands free of charge. I wonder if it's the same person who's receiving the items. I bet it's gonna be merch again. Nintendo, do not overcomplicate this, please. You can also keep track of battle stats like with Splatnet 2. And you can also keep track of turf, inks, total. And you can reach milestones. Also new wallpapers. They also touch on new amiibo figures and new features for amiibo. You can still save gear and weapon combinations to amiibo, thankfully. However, you not only save one outfit to an amiibo, but you can save any of your 5 save slots to an amiibo for easier switching. Also, we see the return of photo op with amiibos. They also added a dabbing pose. So apparently you can make your amiibo dab now. But wait, that's not all. Apparently there's incoming Splatoon 3 amiibos. And the release of the amiibos is scheduled for this holiday. But then again, what is the chance that I will find these amiibos in the shop? They'll all be sold out by the time I get to it. And now they're covering post-launch updates. Awesome. The researcher states, and I quote, "We will be having in-game catalogs every 3 months for the next 2 years. So here's the math. 1 catalog for 2022 fall, and then we had 2 more years, right? 9 catalogs. 9 catalogs, that's it! Okay, so thankfully we will be getting new weapons alongside each catalog. They're also adding League battles and X battles post-launch. For this game post-launch, they're going to add more DLC content and gifts to return to. I think that's off the hook, and I think that's it for this trailer analysis. I'll see you next time. Wait a second, don't tell me. You're the new Splatlands idols! Deep Cut! Gosh, how could I forget about Big Man, Fry, and Shiver? Nintendo did a good job in emphasizing gender equality in idols. Big Man is the first male idol in Splatoon history. There's a new television program called Anarchy Splatcast. You can skip the news, but it still runs in the background. Top left corner. So there is a god in the Splatoon universe. Because the Inkopolis news program was the most annoying thing to come to when you boot up Splatoon 2. So, Splatfest events. In Splatoon 3 Splatfest events, you get 3 teams to choose from, instead of 2. For the first half of the Splatfest, everything is normal. But then there's a second half, where we get Tricolor Turf War! So, Tricolor Turf War. Apparently there's 3 teams instead of the regular 2. But it's a 4 versus 2 versus 2. So, Tricolor Turf gameplay. So the dominating team so far throughout the whole Splatfest gets to be the team of 4. And the team of 4 gets to start in the center. And then the 2 teams of 2 come in from each side. And then there's the Ultra Signal, apparently. The Ultra Signal lets you contribute to the team more. And you get to play alongside members of Deep Cut. It's finally time to analyze the big reveal! The Splatfest World Premiere! The theme of the Splatfest World Premiere is Rock, Paper, Scissors. And it's happening on August 27th, which is the day after my birthday. There's also going to be the first Splatoon 3 tournament. The Enter the Splatlands Invitational Tournament starting September 5th. And that is all from me. Phew, that was a lot to analyze. Now I need to take a breather. Go check out my Twitter to see when I go live on Twitch, and look forward to more YouTube content in the future. And while you're at it, follow me on Twitch as well, and if you enjoyed the video, like the video and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you ring the bell so you stay notified on all my videos. I'll see you next time. Peace!